Links between our two countries, small and very large, are deep and go back for a very, very long time. We discussed a whole range of issues about our connections, but also about the fact that the Irish path to independence, which we commemorate in a centenary way next year, 1916, is replicated in many ways by the journey that India and its people went on to achieve its independence. And in achieving that, the links between our countries were people who were here and in India and in many other cases. We discussed the economic progress of India and the economic progress of Ireland. The Prime Minister is very well versed on the challenges that Ireland faced, on the difficult choices that our government had to make, and now that the economy is growing, we see opportunities for trade, bilaterally, in education, in tourism, the changes we've made in the visa structure, and so on. So I've also welcomed the NIIT Limited Company here to Ireland with 110 jobs, with the IDA working strongly in terms of foreign direct investment here. I think it's 17 companies you said are here, Mark. Also in respect of Mr. Mark Ferguson and Science Foundation Ireland, we see real opportunities for Irish skills, Irish IT, Irish innovation to work with India in terms of many of the Prime Minister's real passions, the cleaning of the Ganges, hygiene, water, all of these areas where innovative Irish companies have made breakthroughs. So in that sense, Minister O'Sullivan is to sign a memorandum of understanding, and will travel to India to do so at an appropriate time. I've invited formally the Indian President to come here on a visit, and the Prime Minister is happy to communicate that, and we will make that arrangement whenever it's appropriate for the President to come here to our country. We look forward to increasing numbers both of Indian students who come here and also Indian tourists, who are increasing in numbers of those who travel. We made the point that over 400 million people who speak English, a very strong middle-class base. Ireland, the only English-speaking country in the Eurozone, with a real opportunity here for further development. We discussed also the question of the non-recognition of medical internships in India not being recognised here, and Minister Varadkar has undertaken to deal with that by legislating for the anomaly that currently exists. Mr. Flanagan is working very diligently with the Ambassador here and with his counterpart in terms of our views on the relationship between Europe and India, the blockages to trade that are there that we can see should be dealt with. We also discussed the question of the reform of the United Nations, the Security Council. We recognise that changes that take place there, on the one hand, should not diminish the opportunity of small countries to sit on the Security Council. On the other hand, should recognise the geopolitical realities of massive countries with power bases like India, and we will work diligently through the Minister and his counterparts in that regard. We've pointed out Ireland's very strong record in terms of humanitarian relief and peacekeeping missions around the world, our 60th year of involvement in that, and that since the UN was founded practically, Ireland's always had a presence somewhere on the planet dealing with humanitarian or peacekeeping issues. And I explained to the Prime Minister at a private meeting of our own history, of our understanding of what it is to live on another man's shore, of what migration actually means, of our own people having lost thousands to the Atlantic after the Great Famine, and that we understand what it is that the Syrian refugees are driven to cross the Mediterranean. We've sent down our naval vessel down there for a third trip on humanitarian issues. So we've enjoyed the conversation. Again, Prime Minister, it's our privilege, real privilege, to welcome you here, and we assured ourselves on behalf of the peoples that it will not be 60 years again before the link is made at prime ministerial level, whoever represents that, between Ireland and India and Ireland.